You're listening to Find Your Groove on this fabulous Friday with me, Lynn Brunette. So grateful that you're joining me today, and I'm excited to talk about this topic because it is very prevalent, and I see a lot of people struggle with this. So we're going to talk about, yes, the D word, divorce. I've been there myself. And, I know it can be a challenge. I know some people struggle for a long, long time. So in just a moment, we're going to talk with my guest who has the best name ever, Nina Thiara. She's a divorce coach. And, her own personal life journey really inspired her to work with women that are transitioning to divorce. And she really gives women the emotional clarity, so important, that they need in making the decision whether to leave, whether to stay, and some really powerful steps and strategies to get through that difficult time. And before we get to that, I want to tell you about this amazing product. And it is part of Forever Green International and FG Express, and it's called Ketopia. And this is a fabulous product that really leverages the latest breakthroughs in science, nutrition, and ketone technology. Health really is an important thing, and just like myself and my guest, I know that when there's things going on in your life, these issues can show up in your life. Health issues. They could be the littlest thing, but they do show up in your life. So health really needs to be a habit. Don't let it be an event in your life. Don't wait till the last minute to take back control and responsibility of your health. Your health is everything. And Ketopia really is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. And it's really revolutionizing the way millions of people look and feel in their skins. I have tried this system. I have used it. And using nutritional Ketopia therapy is really, it's something we're born with and then dissipates as we get older. So if you want more information on this product, you can visit healthiswealth.com. So divorce is something that we hear about all the time. We've almost become immune to it. You can talk to pretty much everybody, and they've gone through at least one divorce. Most people don't come away with it unscarred in some way. We don't go into marriage thinking that we're going to one day get divorced. And, it's this hope that we have for that I think that we struggle with so much. So that's why I'm so glad that my guest is joining me today. Hey, Nina, welcome to Find Your Groove.
Liz. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I really love the work that I see you put out there and the hope that you offer to women, because it really is a struggle, and men and women deal with it differently. And I think women naturally being so emotional, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking this differently because since I am a woman and not a man and have never been both, I can't say, I do know it is difficult for men. They process it differently. But with women, they're usually the ones that if there are children, they struggle with being okay emotionally themselves, but also with their children. So that's why I'm so glad that you're here, that we can talk about this. And I know for you had a 22-year marriage.
Yes, I had a 22-year marriage. That's right. And my journey was so, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and my journey was so unique because I was brought up in an environment where emotions weren't discussed. So as a woman, again, cultural belief systems, I wasn't taught how to feel my feelings. I was just kind of shoved as a child. So that unawareness, I just basically lived a life not knowing who I was and just followed society norms or expectations of others and just lived life. I didn't know how to feel. And that caused a huge havoc on my life.
So difficult relationship, and we don't need to get into the specifics because that's really not what this is about. It's really about, what your experience was with that. And for you, health issues showed up.
So yeah, so a lot of health issues because I didn't have that emotional clarity, not knowing my emotions, not being in touch with them as a woman, because as you said, women are huge connectors to emotions. Since I didn't know how to feel my emotions, health started showing up. So I had IBS, I had anxiety and depression. I had all kinds of hormonal issues. I had all kinds of stuff that started coming up because I didn't have that emotional clarity.
Hmm.
I wasn't
And
I
you,
wasn't taught how to feel my emotions.
and I would imagine, did cultural traditions play into it as well?
Oh, huge role, I think, again, for me, it was huge because as a woman, I was shut down, not to speak my truth, not to feel, not to say anything. Just basically, no, it is the way it is, and you're supposed to do it this way.
And
And no
honor
one
your
taught me about
husband?
emotions
And honor your husband?
and honor my husband. That's right.
And divorce is not an option?
No, it isn't. It was discussed. I mean, growing up, my parents dealt with the same issues. My mom didn't speak up, and they just dealt with it. This is okay. This is the way it's married. You're supposed to, it's supposed to be this way. You're supposed to live your life this way.
Mm.
Like, that was it.
Yeah, yeah. Now you have two sons,
I have two boys that are,
and
one is
it's
22 and one is 16 now. Yeah.
what was it like for them? What was it like? What do you think they were the message that they were getting?
Well, looking back, my older one really got affected. He's okay now, doing my emotional work. Um, he saw it. He goes, you're a woman that was raised and born here, and you didn't know how to take care of yourself and not say no and say this is not right. So it had a huge impact on my older one. My younger one's okay, but it had a huge impact on my older one. He too was suffering from anxiety and depression.
Mm.
So kids do see it and they do suffer.
They do, and I don't think it matters what age. They're like little antenna, and they just pick everything up.
Exactly, because the subconscious brain, it's the programming, the subconscious mind is very powerful. So whatever you feed it, we're going to attract that.
Did you know they were being affected? Like I think sometimes we live our lives and we think we're doing a great job protecting them and not discussing things in front of them. And mothers, we put on that smile and we don't let our kids see us cry and all of that. We think we're protecting them. Did you know or have an inkling or anything that they were being affected?
No, Lynn, actually in my case, I didn't because I lived such an unconscious, not being in touch with my emotions. I lived such an unconscious
Mm,
lifestyle that I didn't know that he's being affected until I started doing my emotional work since
yeah.
2008, and that's when the real clarity came to me. As I was healing, I was also seeing that, able to connect better to my children.
Yeah. So what did you think when you were in the relationship, when in the marriage, that did you ever think one day I'm going to leave or I wonder if I can leave? What did you or did you think, well, I guess this is it for the rest of my life? Because I know there's a lot of women that think that.
No, there were many times I questioned things. Why did this happen? Why can't I speak up? Or why does he do this? Or why is that? Oh, yes, many times I questioned it. But every time I would bring the D word, even my parents, because that's how I knew how to communicate with my parents, they would say, no, everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. We'll talk to his parents. We'll talk to him. So basically suppress the issues. They knew something was wrong, but not having that emotional clarity myself, I just kept going, living to other people's expectations.
Did you talk to other people about your relationship? Women tend to have their girlfriend time and they talk about it. Did you do that?
I think looking back, those are the kind of people I had in my life. So when you're energetically vibrating at a certain frequency, those are the kind of people you have. They have problems too. They don't know how to deal with them either. Now looking, I have different kinds of friends. So yes, we look at and try to resolve problems differently. Back then, I was so suppressed as a person, so I only had very limited kinds of friends. My relationships suffered as well because I was suffering on an emotional level.
Yeah, that's really, really tough. I can't imagine. I never experienced that. I didn't grow up in a household that was like that, to not
Mm-hmm.
speak and to suppress and not talk about emotions. And I had a brief period of that in my work life at one point, and that was difficult. That really, I mean, I had some physical things come up for me. So, and that was difficult enough. I can't imagine many years of that.
So not having that, what I've learned is not having the emotional clarity in your own life will filter out in other areas like your work, your friends, how you deal with society as a norm. There was many issues I had not having that emotional clarity. And now that I have the emotional clarity, I'm able to function as a way better mother. As a person, I really own myself totally differently. I stand like I'm a lot more grounded that have that emotional clarity.
Yeah. Oh,
And as a
absolutely.
divorce coach, that is what I advocate to women to see, to really look at their emotions and own them and connect the dots where they came from and why they're feeling. Because a lot of stuff goes down to childhood and we carry it. We carry it in ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. When you got married, was it, were you happy about it? Did you go into
I
it
think
sort of,
I
you
think
know?
with the way the environment I was raised, so the subconscious programming would played a huge role. So I had a lot of programming belief systems that I carried on thinking, okay, well, this is how it's supposed to be. Never questioned it because I wasn't raised in an environment to ask questions. And then as I kept developing the health issues, I kept asking, what's wrong? Something's wrong. Went to one practitioner to the next, spent thousands of dollars trying to find out what was wrong with me. And I happened to work for the medical system. So for them, it's all about antidepressant, anxiety. They never question, why are you feeling the way you are? They do send you to counseling. But even counselors, I find, just kind of hit the surface, never really ask you, so who are you married to? What is your lifestyle like? What do you do for fun? They really never get into the deeper issues, the root cause of the problem. And then when I really started looking into it deeper and talking to other practitioners, because I was on a hunt to find out what was wrong with me, because everybody around me else was fine. Why was I always sick? I took good care of myself. I exercised, ate right. I did everything right. Why was I sick? So it wasn't until 2008 that I happened to bump into someone who took me on and said to do her work. And it was all the emotional. So I've been on my journey since 2008. So it's been 7 years of continuous work, and I'm still there. And now I found my life purpose was to help and advocate for other women dealing with divorce.
There's always a silver lining somewhere, isn't there? There's always a nugget of something good in everything that is difficult.
And I think for me, the nugget was finding out the root cause and where it was
Yeah.
coming from and making connections to it. It was shocking because the work that I did with this practitioner was so unique. To look at the symptoms. Where did the symptoms come from? How did I subconsciously take them on? Because it was often from the day I was conceived properly. Took them on. These messages I took on into my subconscious mind and just lived my life according to those messages. And changing someone's programming is a really difficult thing to do because we're programmed a certain way to do things this way and that way, not really look at and make the connections to why my life isn't working. And this is amazing. This nugget I got from it was learning how to look at the things I've been doing and make the connections and then figure a new way that would work for me.
Yeah. I want to point out what you said, how you kept searching and searching, because I think a lot of people, no matter what it is, get stuck when there's something going on and they don't know what to do, so they don't do anything because they can't see the how. But you kept searching and searching. You didn't know what it was, and you didn't know what the answer was, but you kept searching, and that was enough to for you, like you said, you bumped into somebody to get the answers, lead you to get the answers that you needed. That's important. I want people to, that are listening to understand that you don't have to know necessarily what it is, but just search, ask questions, keep looking. The universe will conspire and eventually put in your path what you need.
Oh, exactly. I totally see it. Now I connect the dots back to my own journey. I see how I've gone from this person, and it's interesting enough that the practitioner that I did end up working with, she also had a lot of health issues. She's from the same cultural background, and she was working with the same doctor, mentoring under the same doctor that I was seeing at one point. When I did meet her, I said, oh, wow. So it's interesting. You're right. Like you said, Lynn, the universe has a way of when you put it out there, and take action, because action is very important. You can't sit at home and say, what's wrong with me? I need help. Taking that action, reading, talking to people, like you said, and the answers will come. I see it in my journey all the time. Even now, I see it.
I know. It's so amazing. It's almost like magic, but
I love it.
you just keep putting it out there and putting it out there. This is what I need. This is what I need. And It'll come. I think the difficulty is so many people have a hard time recognizing that you're getting what you're asking for, but we put these boundaries on what it is supposed to look like.
Yeah, because we live in a very fear-based society. So
Yeah.
even going back to divorce, there's a lot of fear around it, fear of leaving, concern for the kids. What will happen to my kids? Well, they got to remember they're already suffering, so you're not doing them a favor.
Yes.
And then the finances, how's that going to work out? Well, staying in a marriage, being stuck in a marriage, your finances still being affected because there's so much emotions around it. When you don't have emotional clarity, I was spending money left and right. My finances were a mess towards the end until I had that emotional clarity and I was able to figure out how to deal with my children, the finances. And again, having that emotional clarity gave me the courage to leave.
Yeah. So that for that person that you started working with, what was the work that they did?
The work she did was actually looking at your emotions and ask, she basically just asked me open-ended questions I never asked myself. No one asked me. What kind of relationships I had, and just looking at everything that was going on in my whole life, work, my relationships, my marriage, and looking at my symptoms. Where did they come from? And asking me to own my emotions and connect the dots. Where did I feel that? Where did that come from? And then again, doing the work on my own. So it wasn't just going for an hour counseling with her every 4 to 6 weeks when I saw her. I had to go out and do the work. So if there's something bothering me, I would go to the internet or a book or ask, or there was other retreats I went to, join some groups. So it wasn't just me going and visit her for 1 hour. A lot of the work was my own work. I had to go and find out.
Was she a coach or a counselor or energy healer?
She's an she's an naturopathic energy healer and a life
Mm,
coach, or combined in one. Amazing, amazing work.
nice, nice. Does she still do the work?
Yes, she does. She still practices out Brio Integrative Health in Richmond.
Nice, nice. So when it got to the point where you got clearer on what was going on, you reached the point where, because it was your choice to leave the marriage, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That 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 what what made you finally make that choice? That must have been really scary.
For me, I think it was different because I had that emotional clarity. I had done 5 years of work to that point. So actually for me, I didn't have any boundaries. I wasn't taught about boundaries or any life skills or tools, how to deal with anything. So I basically I was blindfolded all my life, and here I woke up. So I started putting boundaries. And I think that's where the biggest shock came from my partner was, oh, so she
Yeah.
has expectations of me now because I have expectations of myself now. So that was really shocking. Okay, so now she has expectations. She's not going to make my lunch anymore. She's going to challenge me on stuff that's going on. So that's when the real challenge came for him. I think for me, I was so sure emotionally that what I was doing with so much work that I had done on myself, that I was so clear I want what I wanted. And
Yeah.
then when I did talk about it, again, like you said, men and different women communicate so differently. And because the communication was so different, they blame. They don't want to look at their self or how they made their communication never, how they have contributed to the relationship. None of that. No, they don't want to do any counseling. I offered everything.
Yeah.
For 2 years we were separated and told, even to the end, because, my ex really he was a gift to me. I look at that and she goes, your ex-husband's a gift to you. And I look at that and I own it and say, yes, he was a gift to me, because if my universe had not connected me to that person, the universe is amazing. I'm just shocked how it works. Hadn't connected me to that person, even as unconscious as I was, I wouldn't have done my healing. So that's the amazing thing about relationships. And that's where I would really like to do the work, is to women to see, even though the relationship has failed, take the gift out of it. Look at how it's helped you grow as a person and move forward from that. I know emotions. I mean, I still have days where I feel the anger or something, but I'm able to work it within myself and filter it out without causing a big drama scene about it.
You're right. It is a gift. It is a gift. It is. You just mentioned about feeling the anger. There are a lot of emotions that a woman goes through. What are
Mm-hmm.
some of these emotions? So that and to give them hope that they will get through it.
I think anger is huge first when something happens. Again, my situation was so different because I had the emotional clarity, but going through the emotions when I was doing the work, anger, fear, blame, guilt is huge for us women. You know, we
Oh,
feel
yeah.
guilty about everything, and guilt is one of the bad, not a good. I'm trying to say here, is emotion that we need to really work through because guilt is not a very good emotion to feel every day. It will
No.
actually take over your entire life, and those are the emotions I see women feel. I got to do that for him. I got to do this, and no, you need to become clear on your emotions. And once you get that clarity, if the other person wants to own their emotions and work with you, fine. If not, then you need to look at your other options.
Yeah. So what do you do with so when it kind of actually I need to go back. When it finally came time that you decided that you needed to leave for yourself, for your health, for your it was just there was no other option. Was it amicable? Was it okay split? What was it like for
See,
you and your boys?
See, for me, again, because I had that emotion going, I'm gonna keep going back to that emotional clarity. Because I had the emotional clarity, I wanted what I wanted. I was able to voice that to my partner so much clearly. Okay, so if I
Yeah.
hadn't had that, I think, and I can see that that's a pattern I see in a lot of divorce. Talking to lawyers and people that have been going through divorce as I continue with my journey as a divorce coach, is that's huge. Is they're not clear on their emotions and they're not able to advocate. And I was so lucky. Like I said, my ex was a gift to me. And I was so lucky in the sense that, yes, he had seen that it wasn't working. And we communicated that much better. And we knew exactly, and I've seen a lot of other women get very vicious. Did you do that? Did you take that from him? And no, we did
Oh,
it
yeah.
very, no, we
Yeah.
did it very more than I think above and beyond how fair it was. Because at
Mm.
that point, our finances did not look very good um, because I was operating from an unconscious level. So, when our emotions are not in place, we're not grounded, we spend more. So, we had a lot of debts, but we were able to work through it so much quicker, having that emotional clarity and not having to, get a lawyer. I basically did my entire divorce on my own.
Mm. Mhm.
But it helps when you have a partner that's willing to work with you. And my kids, we really, we didn't, I see a lot of couples selling their house right away. And, I'm going to meetups and I'm going to other groups and support groups as well. They're in a hurry to sell the house. And that's always not, a good decision because I didn't sell my house for almost, even though our divorce went through in 2015, I didn't sell my house for 3 years after that until the mortgage came out for renewal and make sure it was a wise decision. And because we had that good communication with my partner, he stayed on title, even though the banks and I did have a lawyer for one point who was scared, oh, you shouldn't do that. And I said, no, it's fine because I had that trust in him and trust in myself and I was doing it for my children, even though they were older, until I made a different decision to sell the house or whatever I was going to do.
Mhm. Very lucky. And I was lucky as well too with mine because there was a couple rough patches for sure, but for the most part it was really uh compared to a lot that I've seen because my work background was in law and primarily family. So I saw a lot of really crappy things happen. And just out of sheer hurt and fear. And so I was lucky. There was a few rough patches, but I worked really hard to always look at is this going to add to the solution or not? What is the best for my son and always operate from that level. It's not always possible, but it is like you say when you're really clear on your emotions and what the objective is. So what is it like now with all of you?
What is it like now? Life is good. I did make that final decision where I had to sell my house. So that happened in January 2016. And we bought a small place, we downsized. It's very nice because we're able to communicate better. What I've learned from the whole thing is as a mother, now that I'm connected to who I am, I've healed my wounds, and this is something my own practitioner told me, is when you heal your own wounds, your kids will become like you. And I see that more every day, how my boys are becoming like me. And we connect, we communicate better, and they have a great relationship with their dad. And we all, four of us get along, and we don't go out for coffee together and for dinner, but we get along. And I see a lot of
Nice.
parents bad mouthing each other, and that's something I learned with my work, was never to do that. Oh, don't get me wrong, I still get angry at little things. Okay, so, but I'm able to calm my emotions down so
Yeah.
much quicker, so the kids don't even see it, that hey, mom doesn't like dad. No. And I think as I do more and more emotional work, get clear on myself, I'm able to even kind of, okay, he's basically, what I have learned now throughout is, like I say, he's a gift to me, and I had children with him, but I'm able to see that he's a person, and he has wounds too that he's never looked at, you know,
For sure.
and hopefully, I'm hoping the best. Whoever he meets, if that is something he's looking forward to, or something that happens for him, that person will bring out for him to heal, because that is, in relationship, that is one thing, is whoever you meet, they're gonna bring out more shit that you need to deal with.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I see that. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
is with my ex of 22 years, as unconscious as it was, and it wasn't working. We kept going at it because we're told the culture to do this, and don't stop, don't mention that D word if it's wrong. Um,
Yeah.
I see the healing that I've done through that 22-year marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, that's so awesome that you can come out of this because, there's some people, parents, they don't even talk to each other. And there's the kids in the middle. And even if they're grown, what a crappy place for your children to be, that your parents can't even talk to each other. Like they can't even get it together enough to talk. And that is so, so, so unfortunate. So, what are the types of situations and women that you work with? Are they thinking about it? Are they going through it? Have they gone through it and they're struggling because they're sad and they're just in such a place that such a bad place?
Okay. So a lot of the women that I approach is that are just in the process of leaving, and they just want that clarity whether to leave or stay, and that's what I do. So I offer a free discovery clarity session, and in that session, I have a questionnaire they fill out, and we have a chat around their story and what has happened, and look at what they've tried, and that's where my work is focused on, is giving them that emotional clarity,
Are there
so they
some
can
that
decide.
decide
Yeah.
not to leave after working with you or talking with you?
I think some may. I haven't come across it yet. My situation where I was willing to look at it if my partner was. And I think with my work, it doesn't mean that you will leave right away. I may end up looking, they would share their story with me, and I may see things that they haven't looked at emotionally. And once they say, oh, and a red light bulb may go on and say, oh, okay, I haven't looked at that. And they may end up staying and having that communication with their partner. So it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean doing the work with me, because I've had a woman come to me and say, oh, are you talking divorce? I said, no, this is a divorce clarity session where I help you own your emotions. I don't tell you what to do, because that's been when I did all the work with my practitioner, she didn't tell me to leave. It was my own choice. I will prompt you questions, and you get to think of them and work them through internally and see if it's the best fit for you or not.
Yeah. So when you do work with someone, what are some of the things or some of the steps? And because you and I are both coaches, so we know that there is no magic bullet. Uh, that there is some work involved, and you said that in your own journey, and I know that as well. But for everybody, what gets them back on track to find their groove again is a little bit different. And I
Mm-hmm.
talk to guests all the time, and there's different things that they do. I talked to one woman who was in such a bad place, and she just sort of parked herself in bed and wrote in her journal nonstop, and that really saved her. And for everybody, it's different. But for women,
Mm-hmm.
what when you work with clients, what are some things that you do to get them? Are there
Okay.
certain?
Well, What I really look at is when someone comes to me for a discovery session, is I let them talk. So what's been going on? So they tell me their whole story. So it's getting that emotional clarity around the story. The story is huge because in the stories, we can pick up patterns and subconscious beliefs of what's been going on. And it's in the patterns and behaviors that where I work with, is actually looking at their patterns and behaviors and seeing how, and get the client to connect the dots. If they can connect the dots on their own, the work is so much easier. Because that's been my journey. It's so much easier when I can get kind of connected. Okay, why did you feel that emotion? Where did it come from? And they see the dots, how that one emotion has been spiraling in their life since the day they're born, until they were conscious enough and played a role not only in their marriage, but it's been playing a role in how they communicate in all of their relationships. So that step is huge. It's a story and owning it and getting them to connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
And many people panic. Yeah. So basically, consciously looking at the story and see their patterns, behaviors, and connecting the dots.
I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Well, of course, it's different for everybody, and really owning their emotions and releasing them and surrendering to them, and not to panic, because many of us panic when a marriage fails. So, and not being so hard on yourself, because as women, we're very hard because we're caregivers, right? Yes. We're very hard on ourselves, and to remember that life is a journey, and every relation that comes into our lives is to help us grow and teach us something and become a better person. Go to support groups and get counseling. Ask people. So that's been my process when I did the work.
Yeah. What do you work just one-on-one? Do you have group coaching? Do you do workshops? Or is it strictly one-on-one?
Right now, as I said, I'm offering a free discovery session for anybody who's interested in finding that clarity, whether to leave or whether to stay in a marriage, and that's complimentary. I'm starting up a meetup very soon, August 3rd, that I'll be posting on my Facebook, and that's going to be called Invest Well, Live Well, and Divorce Well. Nice. And I am in the future thinking of doing workshops, but right now I'm more one-on-one.
Yeah. And I would imagine in some cases, it's a very personal, private situation, and some people might be more comfortable just, private.
Oh, yeah, private, definitely. Yeah, we started private, and then we the meetups where, have discussions, and people can talk about, and you're right, everybody's different.
And what they need is different, and whether they have kids or not, and cultural background, and all of that stuff. So
everything plays
it plays a huge role. Huge.
Mm-hmm, huge. Definitely, yeah.
But everybody needs the same thing. To
That's right.
feel
Divorce
loved.
is divorce.
Yeah, to feel loved and to know that they matter.
That's right. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Such a difficult thing, though. What do you think is really contributing to the mass divorce that happens in the world?
Oh, see,
because when I was a kid, my parents were together. All my friends' parents were together. I didn't have any friends that their parents were divorced.
I think the world has changed now, and people are, I wouldn't say selfish, they're not owning their emotions. They just do the same patterns and behaviors, and they're continuing this on. And it worked then, and people's lives have changed. Everybody has to work now. We juggle so much, and if we don't own our emotions and find what's important to each of us in a relationship, and I think that's where the divorce is coming. And honestly, I don't think the grass is greener on the other side unless you've done that work. I've seen a lot of friends that have gone to second relationships without actually owning their stuff, what went wrong in the first relationship in order to have a better relationship second time around. And then there's divorce the second time around as well.
Yeah, they don't realize that they're the common denominator in all of that.
Oh, exactly. They haven't worked through the first time around, and then they go into a second relationship unconscious again. They haven't worked out their patterns and behaviors in the first relationship.
Yeah, and they're bringing it with them to the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for the woman that's listening to us right now, that is having a hard time, that's struggling, that is noticing health issues, she's sick a lot, she's really unhappy, days that she just does not want to get out of bed because she feels, why should I bother? And this is probably just the way it's going to be. And she's not fulfilled by her partner. What She's listening right now. So what do you want her to know?
Want her to know is don't panic. There is light at the other side of the tunnel. And if you need help, go get help. There's so much available to us that I learned through my journey, and to never stop. Go see counselors, go to meetup groups. There's so much help available to us. And don't feel guilty or shamed around it, because shame is huge for us as women. We've been taught not to feel and not to say this, not to do this. So really connect with your emotions and really say, yeah, this is happening. I feel this. And be your best advocate, and don't get caught up with your friends saying this. And we all have friends. Some of them are very smart, and some of them haven't been through this. So it's your own experience, and it's something you're challenged by. Get help. Talk to your partner. Talk to counselors. Talk to whoever. Get help out there. There's so much available. Don't just stuff it in. Release your emotions, and don't feel guilty or shame around it.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my experience, because I was so suppressed and felt so closed. And I tell women to go out now and look for answers that way. Own your emotions. Don't feel bad about it. And we've been told to feel bad about everything.
Yes.
And fear is huge. Don't feel fear. It's only a 4-letter word. Don't feel fear around it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And take Nina up on her offer of a free call. Get some information.
So right now I'm offering a 30-minute complimentary divorce discovery clarity call, which it's on my website, www.divorcetohappiness.ca, and you just fill out a form, and my contact information is there, and we can set up that appointment and have a chat around what's happening with you.
And also if maybe you just have a question, because I know even, for some people, even to make that appointment, to have that call is a freaky thing. Maybe you just have a quick question, maybe something. You can also, people can also email you, right? Nina at divorcetohappiness.ca.
That's right. Perfect. Yeah. And, people, don't be afraid. Just, reach out, ask a question, and whatever it may be for you.
Yeah, because it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, you have nothing to lose. You're already feeling terrible. Maybe you're having some health issues. I mean, what have you got to lose?
Exactly. Nothing at all.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So go and set that up. Don't wait. Don't wait, because life is too short. So go and book that right now, www.divorcetohappiness.ca. If you have just a quick question, maybe you're a little freaked out, you're not quite ready for a call yet, just get in touch. Nina at divorcetohappiness.ca. Nina, I have one last thing for you, my dear.
Okay.
I like to ask my guests, it gives such a great snapshot, but I like to ask them to finish this question for me. Or finish the sentence for me. Sorry, not a question. Finish the sentence for me. Whatever just comes to you.
Okay.
Nina Thiara is
a divorce coach and is passionate about helping women through the process of gaining that emotional clarity on deciding whether to leave or whether to stay in a marriage.
That's so valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
So needed, because even the best breakup, divorce, can still bring up emotions and still be tough. So, like you said, there's so much out there. Don't do it alone. And Nina's so awesome. So be sure to, again, go to her website, divorcetohappiness.ca. Nina, thank you. I'm grateful for you taking the time out to join me today.
Thank you, Lynn. It's great. Thank you for having me.
So don't wait, everybody. go and talk to Nina. And, we've both been there, so we know that it can be tough. And, you don't need to know the answers and exactly what you need and what's going to work. Just keep searching. That's what we talked about. As long as you keep searching, the answers are going to come. The things that you need, the people, the strategies. And if you're listening to this show, hey, maybe this is what's come across your path. And we've got the answer here for you. So divorcetohappiness.ca. Thank you for joining me again, Nina. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a fabulous weekend. And remember, you have the power. Bye for now, everybody.